Alright guys, this is my video review of the late games and my week 1 predictions and watchability. We're going to go ahead and start with the Seahawks and Cardinals, two NFC West rivals, and everybody always talks about how weak the NFC West is and how it's one of the worst divisions in the league, yet 2 years in a row in the playoffs, the division champ has knocked off a high-powered Super Bowl favorite. So you can miss me with all that NFC West is weak talk, because the NFC East, the one that everybody lauds as one of the most competitive and physical, had the exact same combined win-loss record as the NFC West, 30-34. So having said that, let's go ahead and get to the game. Seattle, they're going to be bringing in a rookie QB who basically lit it up in preseason, and Pete Carroll said, I want you as my starter. Even though they threw big money at Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson, rookie QB, who's about 5'10", 5'11", give or take, who's pretty much my height, is going to be the starting QB. He's out of Wisconsin. He transferred from, I think, was NC State, and went to Wisconsin, blew up. Seattle picked him up. He balled out in preseason. He's going to be their starting QB against the Cardinals. Marshawn Lynch, there was a question whether or not he was going to play. He will play today. And one thing about the Seahawks, they are sneaky. They're sneaky good. Defensively, they have one of the best units in the league. Top 10 last season. They have playmakers in Chancellor and Earl Thomas. They have some playmakers on that D that can really wreak havoc. They beat the Giants last year in New York. Their home stadium is one of the most difficult places to play. It's like West Coast Arrowhead, just on a higher scale. Matter of fact, the playoff game they won against the Saints, when Marshawn Lynch went beast mode, they cheered so loud it registered on the Richter scale. So don't sleep on this team. They could possibly sneak into the playoffs. Now, however, on the other side of the ball, you have the Arizona Cardinals. They're a mess. Their QB situation is a mess. They threw big money at Kevin Kolb coming out of Philly. They gave up key defensive players to send them to Philly. Matter of fact, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is now a Philadelphia Eagle. They gave up draft picks to get this QB who they thought was going to be the heir apparent to Kurt Warner. Basically, this guy sucks. $60 million down the hole, and they're starting a QB that they drafted in John Skelton, who is not much better than Cobb, but he's better than Cobb. So they're going to be relying on a QB that they really didn't think was going to be their franchise QB. On top of that, their offensive line is a mess. And Larry Fitzgerald has to be the LeBron James from Cleveland of the NFL. All this talent, and they are giving him nothing to work with. You try being an elite wide receiver with a junky QB. Andre Johnson has Matt Schaub. Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson has Matthew Stafford, excuse me. Larry Fitzgerald has those two bums. Pray for that man. Now, defensively, they do have a really good defensive unit. Matter of fact, they went 6-2 in their last 8 games. So don't sleep on them defensively. It's just that offense that Cardinals fans have to really worry about. But my prediction is that I think that Seattle will pull this one off by a score of 20-13. I'll give it that. I think Seattle's run game is a lot stronger. I think defensively they have a lot more talent on that side of the ball, and they create opportunities as far as getting turnovers. And Arizona is just a complete mess. So on a watchability scale, from 1 to 5, I'll give this a 2.5. Because basically it's not going to be a shootout. It's going to be far from that. It's going to be a division lovers fest, if you will. Like, if you're an NFC West fan, that's the game you're going to watch. If you're a Seahawks fan, you're going to watch it. If you're a Cardinals fan, you're going to watch it. If you're an NFL fan, you're going to watch it for the sheer fact that you may have some players that are on those teams that are on your fantasy team. But as a general casual viewer, 2.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, matter of fact, let me check here. We're going to go ahead and go. Yes. what I think is the main event of Sunday's football action, day, night, whatever, of the opening week. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers. What more needs to be said about San Francisco? A decade of futility, no playoff appearances since 2002, no division wins since 2002. Yet they bring in a brand new head coach, a brand new offensive defensive coordinator who came with the head coach, new GM, a lockout, so he couldn't implement anything, and he trusted Alex Smith, who a lot of Niners fans were wondering why. Well, the results speak for themselves. A 13-3 record. Alex Smith threw only 5 interceptions with over 400 pass attempts. He was efficient. He was very efficient. But it was that defense. The Niners defense was one of the top 3 defenses, top 4, top 5. Matter of fact, they were number 1 against the run. And they set the NFL record for most games starting the season without giving up a rushing touchdown. 14 straight games they went without giving up a rushing touchdown. Their defense was very opportunistic, tied first in the league with their opponent, the Green Bay Packers, in takeaway differential. So this team was very opportunistic defensively, very efficient offensively. And now they have brought in some new weapons, and Randy Moss, Mario Manningham, and Brandon Jacobs, who they hope can bolster that offense to complement what that defense is, which is an elite defense in the league right now. On the other side of the ball, you have an elite offense and an elite QB with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. They threw the ball with reckless abandon, highest scoring team in the league, went 14-0, went 15-1 overall, and that offense is a machine. Aaron Rodgers has that offense humming. Those receivers are tremendous in that system with Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, James Jones, Jermichael Finley. He has a lot of weapons at his disposal. The biggest question, and I'll get to the Niners' biggest question as well, the biggest question for the Packers is that defense. That defense went from helping them win a Super Bowl a couple seasons ago to being one of the worst. And they were the worst in pass defense. They actually set an NFL record for most passing yards given up in a season with over 4,000. But that defense has a lot of question marks. They lost Desmond Bishop for the season. Their secondary is a complete mess outside of Charles Woodson. Tramon Williams fell off last season from his run in the playoffs in 2010. And the biggest question mark is who's going to be the other pass rusher to give Clay Matthews some room to do what he does best. Because once they take away him, nobody else steps up. So the Packers went defense heavy. Now the Niners' biggest question is how they're going to move the ball on offense. They were one of the worst in the league in third down percentage, 26%. And in the playoffs against the Giants, they only completed 1 third down out of 13. And only 1 receiver caught a pass. This is why they went out and brought in these receivers to give Alex Smith some more weapons. But the question is, how is he going to be able to work with all these weapons? Will he be able to get it done with these new acquisitions? So Niners' biggest question is offense. The Packers' biggest question is defense. However, it's the irresistible force, the Green Bay Packers, versus the immovable object of the Niners' defense. Green Bay's offense, Niners' defense. This is a 5-star game here, ladies and gentlemen. Do not miss this game. My prediction, 27-24. I think Green Bay will edge it out. Now, everybody knows I'm a Niners fan. So I try to be as objectionable and impartial and unbiased as possible. I do not want to be a homer for this blog site. I might do a side piece in my homerism, but I want to be as objective and as honest as possible. I think it will be a close game. I think that it'll be a tight game, but it is at Lambeau. And the Niners have been the Packers' bitch ever since the catch number 2 from the 98 postseason. The Packers have had the Niners record for a long time, and going to Lambeau is not going to be an easy task for the Niners. So, hopefully it's a wonderful game. It's not a blowout. I don't see it being a blowout, but you have a high-powered offense versus a very stout, strong defense. That, my friends, is why this is the marquee game of the Week 1 season, of Week 1 of the NFL season. Moving on, You have the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cam Newton took the league by storm. His first 2 games, he made NFL history by being the only rookie QB to throw for 400 yards in back-to-back games in his first 2 games. And he's the only QB in NFL history to throw for over 4,000 yards and rush for 500 yards and set the league record for a QB with rushing touchdowns. He helped rejuvenate the fan base in Carolina. He has Steve Smith, who he helped rejuvenate. He found the fountain of youth through Cam Newton. He has the dual 2-headed monster running back committee of D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. He has Brandon LaFell, who's been stepping up. So offensively, he has his weapons. The biggest question is that defense. And the defense was a sieve, and it was a major reason why they lost a lot of games, lost a lot of close games. With John Beeson coming back from his injury that he suffered that cost him his season in week 1, you're hoping as a Panthers fan that that defense can tighten up. But you're going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that was the sheep pick when they went 10-6 in 2010 to 4-12 in 2011. The question is, are we going to see the Josh Freeman that lit it up when he was a rookie, or the Josh Freeman that regressed dramatically from last season? He has new weapons and new toys at his disposal. He's got Vincent Jackson as his go-to receiver now. He has a rookie running back that has usurped LeGarrette Blount's starting position in Doug Martin. And that team is very young. That team has got a lot of energy. It's going to be interesting to watch what's going to happen. My prediction, Carolina wins this one 27-17. I think Cam is going to be Cam. I think offensively they're going to be too much for the Bucs defense to handle. For all the picks that they made on that defensive line, it was one of the worst. Injuries cost them. Just poor play all around. And I don't see Carolina slipping to a team that's trying to regain their swagger. So, having said that, we'll move on to the next game, which is the Sunday Night Football special, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Denver Broncos. Now, if you remember, the Pittsburgh Steelers got bounced by the Denver Broncos, an 8-8 AFC West champion Denver Broncos, by a QB who is now a gadget QB for the New York Jets, Tim Tebow. Well, Tim Tebow is gone. He's a Jet now. But they brought in one Peyton Manning. Excuse me. Peyton Manning is now the head QB, or the starting QB, of the Denver Broncos. It's Peyton Manning, ladies and gentlemen. You know what he's capable of. You know he's a cerebral assassin. This man knows his football. This man can coach a team better than his head coach. He gets to the line, and he can figure out a defense just like that. So the Broncos have a future Hall of Fame QB who is still in the league QB. The biggest question is that fused neck of his. Will he be able to withstand the hits, the bangs? Will he be able to be durable for the entire season for the Broncos? And his receivers are going to love the fact that they had Peyton Manning. Eric Decker, Demaryius Thomas, guys like that, they are excited. And they brought in guys like Brandon Stokely and Jacob Tamme. Jacob Tamme and Stokely are very familiar with Peyton Manning over the years. So that gives Peyton some familiarity with the receiving corps. Defensively, well, DJ Williams is on timeout for a few games, but they have the Defensive Rookie of the Year in Von Miller and Elvis Dumervil. Not to mention one of the best cornerbacks in the league today in Champ Bailey. On the other side, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, their history, their prestige, we all know about it. This is one of the most storied franchises in the NFL. They have Ben Roethlisberger, two-time Super Bowl champion. They have receivers who can get open and get deep quick. One of the best deep receivers in Mike Wallace. And then also Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders and Heath Miller. Rashard Mendenhall in the backfield. And of course, everybody knows their defensive stars like James Harrison and Lamar Woodley and Troy Polamalu. But the biggest question for the Pittsburgh Steelers is that offensive line. They are banged up on that line. They just lost their first round draft pick, who was going to be one of their starting guards, to injury. So they have a dinged, banged up offensive line. And you know Dumerville and Von Miller are salivating at the opportunity to get in that backfield and to wreak havoc like they did in the wild card game in last season's playoffs. And this game is in Denver, which means Ike Taylor, due to a medical condition, cannot play in this game because of the altitude at Mile High Stadium. My prediction in this one, I say the Steelers will edge the Broncos out at home. I think they will get their measure of revenge in this game. I see it being a 27-24 style game. I think Roethlisberger will make the play that will win the game for the Steelers. It will be a highly competitive game, straight up, like it was when they played in the playoffs. This game, I give it 4 stars. 4 stars straight up. 4.5 just for the storyline purposes of the playoffs and the revenge factor. Very enjoyable game. And of course, it's Sunday Night Football. How you not going to love that? They're not going to give you a junk game. They're not going to do like Monday Night Football and give you the Jags and Ravens. They're going to throw a marquee matchup in your face. So get ready for that. Now, Monday night, doubleheader. Doubleheader action, starting with the surprising Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens, who were either a catch from Lee Evans or a field goal, or at least a catch from Lee Evans away from the Super Bowl, or a field goal away from going into overtime in the AFC Championship game. And the Cincinnati Bengals, who revamped their entire offense with a rookie QB and a rookie wide receiver, and Andy Dalton and AJ Green, they went 10-6 and made the postseason as well. So you have a very, very attractive matchup, if you will, between these two franchises. Now, the Bengals have the misfortune of being in the AFC North, so they got to see the Steelers and the Ravens twice. And it's a dogfight between these two teams. And this game, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken here, is in Baltimore. Baltimore did not lose a single home game in 2011. I don't see them losing it here again. Joe Flacco, Ray Rice, Torrey Smith, Anquan Bolden, Ed Dixon, Dennis Pitta. Offensively, Flacco has weapons, and Flacco wants to be the next elite QB so bad. He is driven with that. He thinks he is. He's like elite Manning. Eli Manning. He's like Eli Manning from last season. He feels he's an elite QB. Now he wants to prove it. Defensively, it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot different look because they're going to be without their reigning defensive player of the year, Terrell Suggs, hurt his Achilles. He's going to be out for a substantial amount of time. But you know that Ravens defense. You know the two men that are the heart and soul of that defense. Linebacker Ray Lewis and safety Ed Reed. They will be playing, and they will be there. And do not forget one of the best defensive tackles in the league today, and Haloti Ngata. This big man is very durable. This big man is very dominant. And in this game, I see this kind of being a slugfest and a low-scoring game. So I'm going to say Baltimore edges this out by a score of 17-13. And for watchability, it's a strong 3.5. Or matter of fact, 3 3/4. Because the Bengals aren't a punk. The Bengals are no punks. They have Andy Dalton and AJ Green who lit it up as a rookie duo. They have Jermaine Gresham on offense. They have offensive firepower to keep up. Defensively, they had a no-name defense, but it was a very stout defense. They didn't make very many mistakes. So it's gonna be a head knocker between these two teams, and they're division rivals. So you know they're gonna be playing all out, especially for future playoff positioning as they think. So very strong 3 3/4 star match that you're gonna see between these two teams. And the final game of the inaugural week of the 2012 NFL season, the San Diego Chargers versus the Oakland Raiders. Oakland Raiders will always get the Monday night games. Don't know why, but they do. It's an AFC West showdown. The Chargers, they just can't put it together. It's like after that 2007 season when they just missed the Super Bowl, they haven't been the same since. And I'm sorry to any Chargers fan watching this, But as a Niners fan, Takeo Spikes is going to be the reason you don't make the playoffs. There is a such thing as the Takeo curse. Every team he's played for has never made the postseason. Not the Bengals, not the Bills, not the Niners, and not your Chargers. They have Phillip Rivers, who is definitely an upper tier QB. He was very interception happy last season. As a fantasy owner of his, pretty much killed me. But offensively, they're going to be different because they no longer have Vincent Jackson, but they did pick up Robert Meacham from New Orleans. And Ryan Matthews, he's turning into a bit of a disappointment because he can't stay healthy. Every year he's getting hurt. And this kid had a load of talent coming out of Fresno State. This kid, I thought, was just really going to have, he wasn't going to be Adrian Peterson, but he had the build like him. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to do his thing, but he can't stay healthy. And if you can't stay healthy, you can't get on the field. You can't get on the field, you're not productive. You're not productive, you suck. So, Oakland, on the other hand, their regime consists of cast away from the Bengals, Carson Palmer, who's looking to rejuvenate his career. But he's got some offensive talent to back him up as far as Darren McFadden. He's got Darius Hayward-Bay, who's actually stepped it up. We ragged on him and made fun of him about his inability to catch passes, but he's doing it now. Jacoby Ford, he is Al Davis, rest in peace, an Al Davis specimen, fast, very fast. So offensively, I think Oakland has a lot more firepower, and plus they have the best big leg kicker in the league in Sebastian Janikowski. This guy is still knocking down 60-yard field goals like it's nothing, and I drafted him. But this game has 2.5 star watchability, and it is in Oakland. It is in the black hole, so I'm giving it to Oakland 20-17. So those are my picks for the late games and the doubleheader for Monday night. I hope everybody that's watching the early games is enjoying themselves, getting your beer on, getting your nachos on, your buffalo wings on, your gluttony on, and hopefully your team is winning. But as football fans, this is the greatest feeling in the world. Kickoff Sunday, 2012 NFL season. It's so fun, it's so fabulous, and it's American. Yeah, I said it. But having said that, everybody enjoy the games, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday when I give you my review of all the games that took place from Wednesday to Monday night. So enjoy yourselves. Peace.